In an NBA galaxy that today seems far, far, way too far away, basketball was in full swing and even aired live on television. Do you remember those days? Can you recall the good times? If you can, think back a bit further, beyond 2019-2020. For years, the NBA was dominated by big threes. If you didn't have one, you weren't considered a contender. If you pieced one together, you had to prove legitimacy against those already in place. In recent years, with a strong emphasis on the 2019 offseason, the league has encountered a shift. There has been a reshuffling of the deck, and if deuces are wild, new tandems like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, as well as LeBron James, Anthony Davis, have caused the frenzy by teaming up and, at least temporarily, tossing the Big Three concept aside. But if everything old becomes new again, we're about to expedite that process. In the current era of dynamic duos, Sportsmafia is shaking it up once more and realigning the stars in their familiar triad form. Sportsmafia is flashing forward to see what the league's new Big Threes could look like. Number 1 is Trae Young, John Collins, plus Bradley Beal. It may only be a matter of time before Bradley Beal requests a trade off the woeful Washington Wizards, given that the team hasn't been able to capitalize on his scoring this season. If Washington gives in and is looking for a package of young talent to bring back, Atlanta should be the first team it calls. Putting Beal in a backcourt with Trae Young will create one of the most lethal scoring attacks in recent history, with the pair combining for 60.1 points per game this season. Adding in John Collins would give the Hawks a big three that is just 26, 22, and 21 in age. For Washington, Hunter, Reddish, and Herter represent 3 first-round picks, including 2 who were selected in 2019's top 10. Hunter's the most polished product, a two-way force who could score, rebound, and defend, and he's shooting 41.9% from 3 over his last 18 games. At 6'7" and 225 pounds, he can play and defend 3 different positions. Herter is the best playmaker of the trio, a 6'7" shooting guard who's splashing 42.4% of his catch-and-shoot threes this season. Reddish has the most potential as a 6'8" athlete who's shown flashes of brilliant scoring. While he wasn't a good shooter at Duke, he's up to 41.9% from deep over his last 23 games. The Hawks would have a chance to become a force in the East, while Washington would boast one of the best young cores in the NBA. Number 2 is Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, plus Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday could be the final piece to give the Denver Nuggets a big three, as adding him to the core of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray could put this team over the top. Holiday's basketball IQ pairs perfectly with Jokic's passing skills, and would take some of the playmaking duties off Jokic's plate. Besides being a secondary facilitator for the offense, the guard is a dynamic scorer shooting 35.7% from 3, something the Nuggets need more of right now. Most importantly, he would bring some bite to Denver's defense on the perimeter. That's an area of need for any Western Conference contender, and Holiday would fill that role for the Nuggets. A deal built around Gary Harris, Monte Morris, and Keita Bates-Diop, plus a future projected first-round pick, should get New Orleans' interest. Harris is just 25 years old and locked into 2 more years at a reasonable salary, which fits better into the Pelicans' timeline. Morris and Bates-Diop are both young players with plenty of promise, and the projected pick is another future asset. The Nuggets are in win-now mode, and this is a win-now trade that would elevate them to a new level. The Pelicans would add another young guard, 2 contributors who can be developed into solid role players, and a draft asset for their trade cupboard. Number 3 would be Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, plus Rudy Gobert. The Brooklyn Nets won't want to waste time once Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant can finally share the floor. They could look to capitalize on the reported tension between Utah Jazz stars Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell by making an offer featuring Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, and Jared Allen. DeAndre Jordan would need to be included to make any deal work for Gobert, who would give Brooklyn the NBA's premier rim protector to anchor its defense behind Irving and Durant. The Nets' offer should start with just Dinwiddie, Allen, and Jordan for Gobert and Royce O'Neal, a potentially helpful role player. The Jazz declining could mean the Nets must add LeVert with Utah throwing in Ed Davis. The Jazz would add the 21-year-old Allen to replace Gobert in the middle, while Dinwiddie and LeVert would give the lineup a pair of versatile scorers and playmakers to take pressure off Mitchell. Trading for Gobert would mean the Nets are going all in on a big three that includes 2 elite offensive players and a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, a trio they'd surround with Joe Harris, Taurean Prince, Nicholas Claxton, Rodions Kurucs, and Dazan Musa, plus O'Neal and Davis. Number 4 is LeBron James, Anthony Davis, plus Buddy Hield. Adding a third star to a team with a 5.5 game lead in the Western Conference may appear unnecessary, but the Los Angeles Lakers are not without their share of flaws. By now, you've heard how dramatically the Lakers' production dips when LeBron James sits. They have been fortunate enough to get 60 of 63 possible games from him in his 17th season, but shouldn't expect that level of consistency as he surpasses 60,000 total minutes. Usually he plays and he comes off the floor. We kind of take a dip in all aspects of the game, Davis said. For that reason alone, the Lakers need help going forward. Assuming Davis re-signs, they won't have space to be players in free agency. So they'll need to package what few assets they have by moving Kyle Kuzma and Danny Green to provide playmaking alongside Davis when James sits. Buddy Hield became more dispensable with an expensive 4-year $86 million deal, coupled with the Sacramento Kings' desire to re-sign Bogdan Bogdanovic to a 4-year max. Head coach Luke Walton even benched Hield late in the season, possibly sealing his fate. The Lakers' offensive rating when Davis plays and James sits is an alarming 105.7. Hield can operate on the ball, shoots 39.5% on 9.7 3-point attempts per game, and has an assist percentage in the 79th percentile among wings. His offensive skill set and 4-year deal would ensure he'll be making shots alongside Davis for years to come. Number 5 is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, plus Kevin Love. Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson are basically guaranteed to make Andrew Wiggins look good, but why not swap out the 2014 number 1 overall pick for someone who can return the favor? Kevin Love could give the Warriors the facilitating, floor-stretching big they've never really had. He'd command attention at all times, allowing Curry and Thompson to zip around off the ball. Would any team have a better 4-5 passing tandem than Love and Draymond Green? Also, if Green is going to play more center next season anyway, it makes sense to slot him alongside a 4 who could stripe it from deep. Imagine the Dubs in a 5-out set that doesn't really surrender much size or rebounding. It would be the best of both worlds. As an added bonus, Love could punish switching defenses by taking smaller matchups to the post, where he's a gifted foul drawer and passer. The 25-year-old Wiggins has youth and, theoretically, the potential to play shutdown wing defense on his side. But Golden State will have Thompson back, and Green should be able to wrangle most opposing 2s and 3s if the Dubs switch liberally to protect Love. It's hard to know whether the Cavs would accept a straight-up swap of pricey deals that expire in 2023. They might. Love is 6 years older, and Wiggins would fit into a much longer timeline for a younger, rebuilding squad. If they had to, the Warriors could sweeten the pot with their 2020 first-rounder. Number 6 is Devin Booker, Deandre Ayton, plus Chris Paul. Some will invariably see this scenario, which sends Check Delio, Kelly Oubre Jr., and Ricky Rubio to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Chris Paul, as overstating DeAndre Ayton's potential. Agree to disagree. Ayton is a fiercely reliable scorer with crafty footwork. It would be nice to see him expand his range beyond the arc or attack from further out off face-ups, but either might come in time if he's granted the necessary creative license. Even if he doesn't, there's a real utility in a big who blends force and finesse while playing off others. No, he doesn't profile as a big-picture defensive anchor. That's okay. He's getting better at the less glamorous end. He doesn't look as lost in pick-and-roll coverage and has turned into a dependable shot contester around the rim. Opponents are knocking down just 54.4% of their looks against him from point-blank range, a mark that puts him right in line with Steven Adams, Miles Turner, and Hassan Whiteside. Ayton and Booker qualify as a star duo, either currently or inevitably. Adding Chris Paul would constitute a legitimate Big 3 base for the Phoenix Suns. Looking at the rest of Paul's contract might make you queasy. He has 2 years and $85.6 million left on his deal. That's a ton of money for an undersized point guard about to turn 35. But Paul has thus far defied the traditional aging curve. He's a shoo-in for second or third team All-NBA honors this year, and his livelihood has never been the least bit tethered to otherworldly athleticism. That's it for today's Sports Mafia video. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more Sports Mafia videos, make sure to click the circle subscribe button so you never miss a single video. Hope you enjoyed.